Hello, I'm Linda Harris, and welcome to my new Jazzy Life. You know, later in life, I figured that I loved music, so it's everything to me. I eat it, talk it, sleep it, walk it. It's amazing. So I want to bring you into my music room to enjoy our first episode of my Jazzy New Life. And with me, I'm very lucky to have my dear friend Hazel Mitchell-Bell. Hi, Hazel.
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for having me
Well, I'm delighted.
on your Jazzy New Life.
Jazzy New Life. I couldn't think of a better first guest than you.
And what a life.
What a life.
What a life.
Amazing life. An amazing life. The things that music does for us. And it's because of the music that I met you.
Absolutely right.
There's a place in D.C. called Westminster.
Yes.
Right? They have jazz on Friday nights and blues on Monday nights.
Yes.
And I saw Hazel sitting on she always sits in the front row. So I said, she seemed like a nice person. So I think we just kind of met.
Yes, we met.
And we started talking, and we started a friendship.
Yes.
And we do a lot of stuff together. We've traveled together.
Yes.
Our big trip just recently.
Absolutely wonderful.
Fabulous.
Yes, yes.
Was Panama. We went to
Yes.
Panama. We were there for 10 days.
10 days.
And we participated in the Panama Jazz Festival, the 17th year.
Yes.
And I got to go there because I went to the New York Jazz Academy. See the T-shirt? This summer I spent 4 weeks with them, and it was a wonderful jazz school, and I learned theory and just all kinds of ways to be a better vocalist and a better musician. So they invited me to the Panamanian Jazz Festival. So I called up Hazel. I said, you ought to come with me. It's going to be great. And great it was.
Fantastic. Of course, I went as a spectator, unbeknownst that I was going to be a participant in the Panamanian Jazz Festival, which was fabulous. And the opportunity to work with Linda and the New York Jazz Academy, as well as the young musicians there they were just so enthused by the workshops that were being presented by the New York Jazz Festival.
Yeah, it was great experience, and we look forward to going back next year.
Yes.
So Hazel, born in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Yes.
But you grew up in D.C.
Yes.
So tell me about growing up in D.C.
Growing up in D.C., I lived from Northwest to Capitol Hill, and as a kid, I watched the dynamics of the city change over, and I was here during the riots as a kid, and watching 8th Street being burned down because of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. And I had a wonderful childhood, going to camp, in the musicals, going to the theater and modeling. And so I just lived a wonderful life. And my mom was the singer in the family. And as a kid, I always knew that I was going to be a singer. On my stoop on Kentucky Avenue Southeast, I would stand up with my little soda bottle or pretending that I was on stage singing. So I knew it was something that I was going to eventually do. We're all given a gift.
Absolutely.
And there's a blueprint that's set for each one of our lives, and we sometimes may meander away from it, but that path is already set for you.
Absolutely.
And I went from working for the federal government for 38 years and then modeling for over 30 years professionally. And I just decided that, music has always been my passion. I retired in 2010, and I said, okay. And as I've shared with you, my daughter passed in 2009, and my husband passed in 2011. And then I raised my granddaughter, and she's now finishing up her last year at Virginia State University. Yes. And my girlfriend asked me, and several friends, when are you going to start singing again? And I said, when God orders my steps and put me with who I'm supposed to be with. And I had the opportunity to sit in with this gentleman named Bill Heyman. And he told me, he said, I have the person that I want you to go to, which was Vince Evans. World-renowned music director, producer. He was full-time as music director for over 10 years and played with some of the big guys, George Duke, Isaac Hayes, Grover Washington. And I started working with him back in, 2017. And we have such a great working relationship. And about a year after working with him, he said, "You're ready to do your CD."
Super. Before you go into the
Okay.
CD, because that's she's got a great CD, I want to talk about. You said something about God ordering your steps. Now, I believe in metaphysics.
Yes.
And for those of you who not, I'll just give you the little quick and dirty about metaphysics. We believe that all that we have is inside.
Mm-hmm.
And what generally happens in life is as we grow up, we become distracted. So we don't always connect with our true purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And the true purpose in life generally is what you love most.
Yes.
And you eventually get there. And it sounds like, I mean, that's certainly the path that I've taken. We're about the same age with these sassy, sexy, just amazing women.
Absolutely.
And we found this thing later in life.
Yes.
We were distracted.
Yes.
But we were fortunate enough to come back. I wanted to sort of weave the connections that you've made.
Yes.
We think that they just happened,
No.
but they were already there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when we look and listen
Yes.
is when we get the connection. So continue.
Absolutely.
All right.
And a part of that connection is, your meditation and communing with nature and realizing that there's a big world out here and there's a lot of things that you can do when you become our age. You just don't go home and sit in a rocking chair and think about, well, what am I going to do next? You can do anything that you want at any age. It's about having that passion.
Absolutely.
And having that faith and walking in faith and connecting with like people who are positive.
Absolutely. And I think that's why we get along.
Yeah.
Because, we've come across some folks. This music industry is really very interesting.
Yes, it is.
But it's very important to bond with someone that you have similarities with. But tell me about Vince Evans and your project. So she's going to be talking to us about her first CD, Hazel Mitchell-Bell, Stronger Than Ever.
Well, CD came about after working with Vince Evans in 2017. And a year in January 2018, he said, "You're ready to do your CD." And that was after in November, before in November, I walked into a session and he said, "Start singing." And the song that I started singing was For Women. And he said, "Well, what are you doing Friday?" I said, "Nothing." He said, "Well, you're going to sing with me down at Westminster." And so after the performance at Westminster, and I started laughing, I said, "Are you going to critique me now?" He said, "That was your critique with a standing ovation and people asking you if you had a CD or a business card." And I started laughing. I said, "I'm just getting back in the game after being away from it for a minute." So then January 2018, Vince, said, "You're ready to do your CD." And I started laughing. I said, "Oh, yeah, okay, yada, yada, yada." So then March, he started calling all of the musicians and he said, "I got James B. King." I said, "James King?" He said, "Yes, because James King is considered the epitome of all the bass players. We call him King James." And so the lineup, it was of the musicians that he had called for the CD. I was just amazed to be working with them. So we recorded the CD in March, April. And the title came about after the passing of my daughter in 2009 and my husband in 2011 and raising my granddaughter, and everybody kept telling me, "Oh, you're stronger than ever to have gone through what you've gone through and be still standing, because some people just fall apart with grief." And, I just said, for me, it's about having faith in God and knowing that we're only here alone. And you have to appreciate what you have when you have them.
Absolutely.
So that's why I named it Stronger Than Ever.
All right. Tell me about the song selection. I was looking on here. Jazz, there's so many great songs. And so, as I study music and I play the piano and study it, as a vocalist, we're told to sing songs that we love. or sing songs that we can sing well, which isn't always, you know, they don't always, you can't always love what you sing. But tell me, for women, Nina Simone, tell me why you selected that song.
I was reading up on about Nina Simone's life and all the adversities that she went through, and then, you know, thinking back to how slavery impacted women. And it spoke of the different phases of what a woman had gone through during that time, and I just fell in love with it. And it was my, you know, tribute to her.
Very good. You know, I don't. For those who may not know the song, why don't you tell us about the four women that she talks about in this song?
The first woman that she's talking about is Aunt Sarah, who was a slave, and the things that she had endured, from the whippings to, you know, and as the song says, my arms are long, my hair is woolly, and my back is strong. So, you know, back then they had working in the fields and all. And then Saphrona, my skin is yellow. And between two worlds which she belonged, her father was rich, which was the master. Slave master. And so she was a mixed race, and she had to live in those two worlds as the slave master's daughter and as a slave.
Yes.
And then Sweet Thing, her skin was tan, but she was a prostitute whoever had the money to buy her, she sold her body, and that's how she made her money.
Yes.
And when you talk about Peaches was rough and tough because she dealt with the fact that her parents were slaves and all that anger. So it gives you four levels of how these women's, their lives were.
Sure.
Yeah, so.
And, you know, it's so appropriate where this is February and it's Black History Month. So it's, you know, Nina Simone to me was just such a visionary.
Yes.
So phenomenal.
Yes.
And those four women are still very present
yes.
in our lives now.
Absolutely.
And probably will continue to be forever.
Yes.
Each having their own strength, which is what we carry as Black women.
Yes.
You've got a lot of songs here, but I want to talk about Curtis Mayfield, who, of course, the younger generation may not know Curtis Mayfield, but he was just a phenomenal musician from the 60s, 70s,
yes.
and into the 80s.
Yes,
I believe.
Prolific writer.
Yes, right. All of his stuff is good. Go to YouTube and look up Curtis Mayfield, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But tell me about The Makings of You and why you selected that song.
The Makings of You was selected because I dated a guy that played with Curtis Mayfield. And I had the opportunity to travel with him, and he was my adopted godfather. Of course, he always told me, "You're just spoiled. I wouldn't let you do this." And so the song, you know, is talking about the gift of, you know, the children and how we can be so proud of them, and when you're born, and what women go through in giving birth. Yeah. And, you know, for me, that was my tribute to him, and I just felt that the arrangements and his music was just, out of all of the songs, People Get Ready, you know, and Superfly and all those songs, The Makings of You was just here in my heart.
Yeah, those Black movies during the 70s really helped. Just a little trivia, helped Hollywood. Hollywood was struggling, and they came out in the 70s with all these Black exploitation movies, and it really launched them. So we can talk about so much, Hazel, and we're going to have you come back.
Most definitely.
But I want you to talk about where we can see you next, where you'll be performing, and are you working on another CD?
Yes. To all the questions that you asked, I will be appearing at the Mid-Atlantic Jazz Festival Saturday, February the 15th at 4 p.m.
Okay, and where's the Mid-Atlantic Jazz
Festival? It's being held at the Hilton in Rockville, Maryland, and the tickets can be purchased online on the MidAtlanticJazzFestival.org.
Okay, so buy them. Let me just put my little bid in for myself. I will be there on February 16th. So buy the tickets, and you can see Hazel and and you can see me.
Yes, and come to an absolutely wonderful
It's
show.
A wonderful, the Mid-Atlantic Jazz Festival is just a wonderful 3-day festival that has something for everyone. There are clinics, there are workshops, there are movies. We've got headliners, and it's a wonderful opportunity. It's an organization led by Paul Carr. He gives local talent an opportunity to perform on a big stage, so we appreciate that.
And if you don't like jazz, they have the juke joint.
They have the juke joint. I tell you, they have something for everyone. So you've got to come. It's 3 days in Rockville, Maryland, February 14th through the 16th. And you've got something else.
Yes, I will be back by popular demand at the DC City Winery on March the 29th, which is on a Sunday, at 6 p.m. The doors open, 7:30 show with the Vince Evans Orchestra and the Lomax Sisters doing background. And on that note, when you were talking about new CDs, I will have a new CD coming out called The Journey Continues.
Wow, that's great.
I would recommend that you go online and get your tickets if you want good seating. It's assigned seating this time, so come out to a wonderful venue, the DC City Winery. Great food, great wine, and
great atmosphere. And
yes.
I was at the show last year. It was a great show. So buy your tickets. Be there. You're going to see Hazel, and I'm going to be running around talking about something. Sure. Well, Hazel, thank you so much.
Linda,
launching this, helping me launch this, it means more to me than you can imagine.
Well,
I appreciate you being here.
It is an honor and a pleasure, and I am so grateful to have you as a friend. And I thank you for asking me to do this for you, and congratulations. This is going to go far.
Wonderful. I hope so. Music is everything, and we will continue the journey.
Yes, the universe is ours to claim.
It's ours to claim.